Namaste, mere pyare bachcho. Welcome back. I know your exams are right around the corner and you're all studying so hard. So, to make things a little easier, today we are going on a grand tour of the cell. Think of it as a super quick, super easy revision of cellular organelles that will make you fully prepared for your exams.
Okay, so what's on the itinerary for our grand tour? Well, we'll start with the basics, then we'll check out the city's walls and security. After that, we'll visit its busy factories, stop by the power plants, and finally, we'll meet the big boss, the CEO, in the main office. Are you ready for this adventure? Let's go!
First things first, let's get our entry pass into this amazing city. This part is all about the absolute basics, the things you just have to know about the cell before we go any deeper. So, let's start our tour.
Now, this is a really important difference you need to remember. There are two main types of cells. On one hand, you have prokaryotic cells. These are super simple, kind of like a one-room house, where everything just happens in one single space. And then you have eukaryotic cells, like the ones that make up our bodies. These are like a huge grand bungalow with lots of different rooms, and each room or organelle has its own special job. See? Simple, right?
Okay, next stop, we're at the city limits. We're going to check out the cell's outer boundaries. This is where we learn all about the security systems and the walls that keep our little cellular city safe and sound. Let's see how they do it.
Every big society or city needs really good security, doesn't it? Well, the cell's first line of defense is the plasma membrane, and it acts just like a very intelligent security guard. He's so smart. He doesn't just let anyone wander in or out. No. He checks everyone and everything. This is what we call selectively permeable. It's basically like having a bouncer at a club who decides who gets in. This keeps everything inside the cell peaceful and in perfect order.
So, to understand this security gate a little better, scientists came up with something called the fluid mosaic model. Just imagine a swimming pool that's filled with oil. That's the fluid part. Now picture big chunks of paneer floating around in that oil. Those are the proteins. This oily, fluid nature is what makes the membrane so flexible, and that helps the cell grow and talk to its neighbors.
So, how do things actually get past our strict security guard? Well, there are three main ways. First up is passive transport. Think of it like a ball rolling down a hill. It just happens naturally, no extra energy needed. Then there's facilitated transport. This is where a friendly helper protein gives a molecule a little hand to get across, like helping someone cross a busy street. And finally, you have active transport. This is like trying to push a really heavy cart uphill. It's tough. It requires energy, which the cell has to pay for using its special energy currency called ATP.
All right, Bacho. Time for a quick exam-style question. This is a very common one-mark question, so listen carefully. Why do plant cells have a strong, rigid cell wall, but animal cells like ours don't? I'll give you a moment to think about it.
And the answer is because plants don't have bones like we do. The cell wall acts like a super strong brick wall. It gives the plant structure and support, and it also stops the cell from bursting if it takes in too much water. We animals, on the other hand, have skeletons inside our bodies for support, so our cells just don't need that extra wall. Simple, isn't it? Great job, everyone! Now that we've cleared security and are inside the city, let's head over to the industrial area. This is where all the action happens. We're going to explore the endomembrane system, which is basically a team of organelles that work together like a factory assembly line to make and ship important stuff. Our first stop is this massive network called the Endoplasmic Reticulum, or ER for short. It comes in two types. The rough ER looks rough because it's covered in tiny dots called ribosomes, which are like little protein-making machines. The smooth ER, well, it's smooth because it doesn't have any ribosomes. Its job is to make fats or lipids and to clean up any harmful toxins, kind of like a detox center for the cell.
Okay, so once the proteins and lipids are made in the ER, where do they go? They head straight to the Golgi apparatus. And you should think of the Golgi as the cell's own personal Amazon or Flipkart warehouse. It's the ultimate packaging and shipping department. It makes sure every single package gets to exactly the right address. So what exactly happens in this busy warehouse? Well, first, it gets all the packages of proteins and lipids that come from the ER. Then it modifies them a bit, maybe adds a label or some gift wrap, sorts them all out, and packs them into little delivery trucks called vesicles. And finally, it ships these packages off to wherever they need to go, either inside the cell or even outside. Every city creates waste, right?
Well, the cell has its own incredible Swachbarth-Abion team, and they're called lysosomes. They're the official recycling unit. They're filled with powerful enzymes that can break down all the waste, old cell parts, and even any nasty bacteria that might invade. They're also famously called suicide bags because if a cell gets really sick or damaged, the lysosomes can burst open and digest the whole cell to protect the body.
Wow, all this manufacturing and cleaning takes up a lot of energy. So, for our next stop, let's go visit the power plants and the kitchens of our cell city. This is where all the fuel and all the food is made.
Okay, bacho, listen up. If there is one single thing you absolutely positively must remember from this chapter for your exam, it is this sentence. Say it with me. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. I can almost guarantee you this will come up in a question, so please know it by heart.
So what do these powerhouses do? They take the food we eat, like glucose, and they combine it with oxygen to produce tons of energy in the form of ATP. You can think of ATP as the rupee of the cell. It's the currency the cell uses to pay for everything it does. And here's a super cool fact for you. Mitochondria have their own DNA and their own ribosomes. This is amazing, and it suggests that billions of years ago, they were actually separate little organisms.
Now, what about plant cells? They can't exactly order a pizza, can they? So they have their own kitchens called chloroplasts, and these are only found in plant cells. They are master chefs. They take sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and they cook up their own food through a process called photosynthesis. So cool.
We are almost at the end of our tour, everyone. For our final stop, we're heading to the most important building in the entire city, the Control Center, the CEO's office. We'll also meet the team that helps the cell keep its shape and move around.
We already met these little guys on the rough ER, but you'll also find them just floating around freely inside the cell. Ribosomes have one incredibly important job. They are the tiny factories that build all the proteins. And since proteins do pretty much everything in the cell, you can see why ribosomes are absolutely essential.
Now, some cells love to move and groove. To do that, they use these tiny hair-like structures called cilia and flagella. Cilia are short, and there are lots of them, and they move together in a sweeping motion, like rowers in a boat. Flagella are much longer, and you'll usually only find one or two. You know those trending dance reels on Instagram where people do that wave-like motion? That's exactly how a flagellum moves. This table here is a perfect summary of the differences for your exam.
And at last, we've arrived at the main office, the nucleus. This is the CEO of the cell. Inside, it holds the master blueprint for the entire city, the DNA. This DNA has all the instructions for everything the cell will ever need to do. And from its office, which is surrounded by the nuclear envelope, the nucleus sends out all the orders and controls every single activity in the cell.
So, my dear students, our tour is over. We've seen how hundreds of different parts inside one tiny cell work together in perfect harmony. No single part is more important than another. They all need each other to survive. So what can this tiny cell teach us about teamwork and cooperation in our own lives? Think about that. You all did a fantastic job today. Study well, stay positive, and I just know you will all do brilliantly in your exams. All the very best.